Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the D2 Live, and there's a lot to unpack after another epic stage of the Giro. Stage 20 is done. It didn't quite pan out the way we thought it would, but there was some bloody impressive rides. A couple of Aussies lit it up on the second last climb. We'll go through all of that. We've got Maddie Lloyd coming on the show a bit later on, who won the Mountains jersey in 2010 and a stage at the Giro. And we're, of course, going to be chatting with Team Bike Exchange head DS Matt Lloyd to dissect what happened. I'm joined, as always, by four-time national road champ Johnny Trevorrow, Olympic gold medalist and commentator Scott McGrory, and, of course, the voice of cycling, Phil Liggett. I'll start with you, Iffy. First of all, how are you feeling, mate?
It was coming good today, but I sort of went downhill or so. But we'll struggle on, mate. We'll struggle on.
If at any point in this show I feel that you dip and you need to just shut it down, I'm going to call it, mate. So
okay, well,
just hang in there. But Phil, it was an epic stage 20, sensational victory by Damiano Caruso. What were your thoughts on the stage, mate?
Well, on the whole tour, I think, Dan, it's been such an incredible Giro this year. So much fun to watch, so much intrigue, so much suspense. And I think the winner yesterday, Martinez, oh boy, if anybody deserved a stage win, that was the one. I'm so happy for that guy, and he's had a great Giro. And of course, he saved the day. He got away from Yatesy. We all thought Yatesy was going to pull back 22nd and be at least second in Milan later today, but I don't think he can do it now in the time trial. And I think the top three, as they stand, will be the top three in Milan as well. It's been a fabulous, fabulous tour. Enjoyed every minute of it. And of all the teams, only two teams are getting all the men home to the finish line. And the two unlikely teams, Bardiani and Wanty, they'll get all 8 riders back into the finish line. So it's just been full of intrigue and a credit to cycling.
Scooter, old Heinrich Hausler was pretty excited by Caruso's win. You sent me a video. This was Heino's reaction at the finish.
Mate, you bloody legend. You bloody legend. Absolutely. Just kill them today. Bloody legend. Bloody legend. Get in there, buddy. You ripper.
This is becoming a trend now with
I noticed you beeped a couple of bits out of that, mate.
No, I just kept it raw. Heino knew the score. He didn't drop any F-bombs.
I thought there was an F-bomb in there when I heard it, but anyway, there we go.
Yeah, I thought there was as well, actually. So we might have missed that one. But
agreeing with you, Phil. You did. You said Martinez, but you meant Caruso. But
thank you. He was at the great start of the story, wasn't he?
He was. Martinez really has saved this tour for Bernal, without any doubt. He's just been so awesome. But when you think about Bahrain victorious, they had hardly anyone left, half a team, and to ride an attacking stage like that, just take it on, was super, super impressive. Yeah. Also very impressed with Michael Storer. He was so strong for his team leader in Bardet. But yeah, overall, you know what? I think the placings in Milan tonight are the correct ones. I think Bernal deserves to win. Caruso, it's been the steadiest of all the contenders. Deserves his second place after that performance yesterday. And Yatesy, definitely deserves to be on the podium. So, and their miles, I think it's 4 minutes between Yatesy and Vlasov for 4. So those three, as you said, Phil, will stay where they are. So, but wow, what a day!
But it's superb, John. And the fact is that the way this race has gone, it's not been a one-man show, even though, yes, Bernal's Ineos boys have been fantastic, but they've also been fallible at times. And you're right about Martino. Yesterday was an absolute superstar. He saved Bernal and just left him to get a few seconds at the end. Absolutely fabulous. Though, in all fairness, it's been a tour to remember. And we've had a number of individuals. Hugh Carthy, all the guys have had a little go. It's been fabulous. It's been the return of top bike racing for me this year. Absolutely, yeah.
Guys, for me, it was the day of the teammates. Okay, because it did kick off on the descent of the San Bernardino Pass, and it was Chris Hamilton, our man. Chris Hamilton for DSM that lit it up on the descent and took Storer and, of course, Bardet with him. So they had a plan to light it up on the descent to try and put Ineos under pressure. That actually did, because we did see the interview from Bernal that Martinez was off the back of that lead group in the peloton. So they couldn't really, even if they wanted to, they couldn't really just kind of light it up and go after DSM because they were waiting for Martinez to come back. And that's when the Bahrain Victorious guys, Bilbao and Caruso, went. So we had the teammates in Hamilton lighting it up on the descent to get them off the front. Bilbao also did the same thing for Caruso to get across to that group. And then when they got to the next two climbs, that's when Storer come into his own for Bardet and Bilbao all the way to, I think, 6Ks to go. And one of the best things I've seen in cycling for quite some time was when Bilbao on the final climb finally had emptied the tank and Caruso went to go past him and just gave him the double pat on the back as a sign of respect. Now, I remember Jeremy Hunt telling me the story from years and years ago. Jeremy Hunt, British sprinter, but he rode for the Benesto team with Miguel Indurain. Didn't do too many races with Big Mig back then because different agendas, obviously. But there was one race he said where he had to do some chasing on the front before whatever climb it was that Indurain was going to light it up on. And when he pulled off the front, Mig came past and actually it just said to him, "Thank you." And he said that's something that stuck with him forever. That Big Mig actually took the effort to say thank you as he was going shooting out the back. And that kind of thing there for Bilbao as well from Caruso just shows, I think we're dealing with a very, very good character in Damiano Caruso.
I had the same thing in 2013 Tour de France when we released the AC/DC video. Cavendish rode past and went, "Good video, mate. I've never forgotten that. It was awesome."
There you go. It's little things. Little things.
You talked about Chris Hamilton. His reaction after the finish.
It was kind of, I didn't really know what was happening until I was on the descent. But, when I heard the first time on the radio that, they were at the bottom, I'm like, all right, they made it down safe. That's the main thing. And then, it was breaking in and out the whole way. But from what I heard, Roman had a pretty good ride.
Was it the plan to take this risk and send a few up the road?
Yeah, we wanted to. It would have been good to have. We thought in the meeting it would have been if there was a big break and we can get someone ahead for the flat parts on the descent or even the bottom of the climb. We could use it to our advantage. But we didn't quite get the gap, or they didn't quite get the gap that they wanted. But actually, it timed out okay because we caught Nico Denz on the downhill section of the first long climb, and Roman had good legs, and we thought that we give it a bit of a rip over the top of that climb and see if we can do some damage, and then went over into the descent and it broke up a little bit, and so we just we'll commit to this and keep going.
Yeah, great interview there. Now, one of the things we were talking about earlier yesterday was the tactics pre-stage, and we knew that other teams were going to try and light it up like what Chris was saying there. Now, I did find one insight from Chris Horner. He's been posting videos every day on YouTube, and he was actually quite critical of the Bike Exchange tactics. I want to play the bit where he explains why.
Bike Exchange, who I'm sure sitting in the meeting before today's stage, said they want the racing as hard as it could be on Ineos. They want total chaos. They want to isolate Egan Bernal. Now, Bahrain Victorious with Damiano Caruso and DSM with Bardet up there have put that pressure all over the Ineos guys. They do not have Filippo Ganna there to control everything and wrap it all back up into a pretty package like we're used to seeing. Now they're left with Salvatore Puccio. They're in damage control, and Bike Exchange puts a guy on the front to help Ineos back there riding. Absolutely crazy. In my book, I would have never put them on the front. Every time when we see this in big Grand Tour races, Simon Yates' Bike Exchange team said they wanted this. They wanted Ineos under threat, in danger, put the pressure on their team. Now it's happening, and what do Bike Exchange do? They throw a guy on the front for 10K through that valley to help the Ineos train and help their leaders. What happens if they don't throw them on there? The gap's a little bit bigger. Now all of a sudden, Martinez has to go harder up the last climb, and then Simon Yates is left with the isolated Egan Bernal. Instead, they got the scenario they wanted, but they just blew it when they put guys on the front. That was the mistake I seen, and the knucklehead mistake I saw out of Bike Exchange on today's stage of the Giro.
What do you think about that, Johnny?
Knucklehead, huh?
Yeah.
You know, I must have dozed for a fraction through the night because I didn't think that happened exactly when he's saying it happened. I didn't realise that was when Bahrain were up the road. Maybe they were really concerned about second place going up the road. That's my only thoughts. We'll have to ask Maddie.
What do you think, Scooter?
I think he's got a good point. You know, that's perhaps it was a bit of desperation that maybe that they were losing a place in the podium. But I think Chris has got a really good point there. We can put that to Matt later on.
Yeah, and obviously Simon Yates, he didn't quite have the legs. His reaction on the backstage pass after the finish.
Yeah, I just didn't have the legs to do anything. We had a plan at the start to try swimming on the second to last climb, but I got there and I didn't have the legs. Bit of fatigue from yesterday, bit of fatigue from 3 weeks of racing hard, and as always, I did my best. So that's how it is. Chapeau to the guys who stayed away. That was a bit unexpected. They went away on the descent before the climb, which I wasn't really expecting, but that's how it goes. And now, we'll try and finish it off with the TT.
Phil, I'm going to ask you, it must be good for the sport that, all the GC contenders at some point had a bad day. Like, gone are the days where, some of these guys are just riding off the front for ages. You just never know what each stage is going to dish up.
Well, for me, having lived all those through the doping years of the 70s, 80s, etc., 90s onwards, I think it's highlighted just what a great race we've seen, and that perhaps we really are winning the war against the drug takers, because these are like the good old days of way before the 60s and 50s, when every top rider always waited to get rid of that bad day. And we're seeing those bad days. I don't think there's a rider come through this Giro who hasn't had a bad day, and they know it's going to come. Now we're in modern racing, but they know it's going to come. Bernal clearly had one. I'm sure after the race is over, he'll tell us how hard he was lucky to survive that bad day he had 3 or 4 days ago. Obviously, Simon's had it as well. Caruso has just been Mr. Consistent and kept on getting away. If he's had a bad day, he's kept it well. I think it's just had every element, and I just hope the Tour de France can measure up to the Giro in a few weeks' time, because if it does, we're going to have a terrific Tour de France.
What do you think the key learnings are going to be for Bike Exchange coming out of this Giro?
Look, I don't think they did much wrong, other than what was just being pointed out.
Yeah.
I like the way they took the race on. The last few days where they had the whole team on the front, keeping the gaps down, they looked impressive. They looked in control. The stage that Simon won was an absolute ripper. Really, I know he faltered a bit last night, but his only real bad stage was the one back 4 or 5 days ago, where he just lost a few minutes. He struggled a bit early with lots of little niggles and stuff, but he had that one really bad one where he lost a few minutes, and that's what's put him down 3.5 minutes, where he'll be within a minute other than that. But hey, they don't call me Ify for nothing. But look, as Phil was just saying, it's been an amazing Giro. If Bernal hadn't have cracked, if Yates hadn't put in that enormous ride, we'd still be talking about it being a great Giro. 12 new stage winners, with all of those aspects. But the minute that Yatesy put Bernal under pressure, the whole complex of the event changed. And then we had, wow, can he crack more? So it just threw that extra bit of intrigue into it, which just made the race super, super special.
Well, my theory of things battling the cold was thrown out the window because he rode pretty well.
Backing up what Johnny said there, Chris Horner, I think he was probably, I think he was correct in what he was saying, but it didn't matter. So it would have only mattered if Simon had the legs to back it up. So put Martinez under more pressure on the final climb. Bernal has to then ride on his own earlier, and that would have been the opportunity for Simon to attack, but he just didn't have the legs. So it didn't matter what tactics Bike Exchange used before that. Simon, as you said, just didn't have, and as you showed, didn't have the legs to capitalise on any other change of tactics.
And Simon might have already said to them, guys, I'm not that good today, so let's not let the gap go too much. I'm not like yesterday. So that could have easily been the conversation.
Well, I think you could tell with his positioning. Like, if he's feeling good, he is up the front. But when he was sort of mid-pack in that front group, it was clear signs because you knew that something was going to happen. If he wasn't in the right position, he just didn't have the legs. So, anyway. Hey, Phil, you're going to head out for a bike ride soon, but how's the preparations going for your online ride?
Oh, the online ride's going really well. We've our kind donators, we're up to over $3,500 US now. And I'll tell you, the recipients, which is Kareka Game Reserve in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, are in tears when they talk to me every day because they've never realised I've had so many friends around the world because, of course, with COVID hitting South Africa and stopping all the tourism, well, who's looking after the animals and the people on the reserve too, the indigenous tribal people, because they're in trouble as well. They're employed by the reserve and there's no one there. So we're really happy with the way it's going. We're online next Saturday and Sunday with our first two events. Christian Vandervelde is going to join me from, he's the other half of Chris Horner, by the way, because they both work with me on the Tour de France. And Christian, he actually sponsors a rhino as well, which was a Christmas present by his wife a couple of years ago. So we're very happy. We're really happy, and I'm looking forward to the ride too. It's fullgas.com, and you can download the app and take a look. Is the most interesting app because they're not avatars; they're real film from the reserve or from whatever event you're doing. Tomorrow, for example, I'm around New Zealand tomorrow, Lake Taupo, riding with a lot of bike riders over there around the lake and interviewing them. We've got bike riders. Champion of New Zealand is riding, Georgie. So we've got some really good riders with us on that ride tomorrow morning. A bit early my time, though, 7 o'clock start for me in the morning.
Oh, you're an early riser, aren't you, Phil? You'll be up doing push-ups next to the bed at 6:30.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil, you mentioned...
no limit to my peloton in the African Safari, which is what we call it. We call it Phil's Peloton in the African Safari. No limit to how many come on board. It costs you $40 donation. Frankly, you can pay what you like. And,
well, I've already dobbed us 3 in, so we better...
Are you in?
I thought there was 2. I didn't think I was riding.
No, there is a armchair option for you.
Okay, I'll do that.
There is an armchair option. You just download the app, fullgas.com, and once you've donated, you will receive information from.
All right. Well, you can count on me for that, Phil. I'll do it.
They give you the link, and you can talk to us. I mean, we're on Zoom. You need 2 devices. Obviously, you're on Zoom like we are now, and then on the other app. On the other device, like an iPad or your telephone, you have the Full Gas app.
Yep.
Then we all shout go, and you'll see us all ride off, and we get amongst the animals on the trails. And I'm interviewing people, like if John's there, I'll chat with John. We'll talk about what we're talking about now, maybe, or whatever. Because John's always threatened to come to Africa, so now he can meet the people that actually live there, and so on and so forth. It's a real, and the ride will last just over an hour, and there's 4 rides, and for the same donation, you're in for all 4 rides, or you can just do one. It's up to you.
So those listening,
so there's only 2 days of the 4 where the timing really suits you, but they are being recorded, so you'll get a copy at some point.
All right, so those listening, the website is kariega.co.za/Peloton. So get on board, sign up, get involved. It's a great cause.
You press donate or register, and you get the lot. All the info comes to you. Yeah.
Well, we've really appreciated you being on the detour, Phil. We're really looking forward to the Tour de France, and we hope that the event goes really well for you and you raise a lot of money, mate. It's a great cause.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. And of course, I'm looking forward to actually working again too. Which, the Tour de France, obviously my 49th. And then just after that finishes, I'll be doing the Olympics with Channel 7 and with Scotty. And then just after that, I've just got a new job. I'm anchoring an 8-man commentary team, 8-man and women commentary team, for a brand new triathlon in Slovakia, if they let me into the country, of course. And that's in August, and that's got the richest ever prize list for a triathlon of $1.5 million. And there's only 36 athletes for a 2-hour race. That's not bad earnings, is it?
I heard they had the richest ever prize list for commentators as well. Just
No,
to match.
unfortunately, it hasn't quite reflected that way, Dan, but I was hoping it didn't happen. But I'm looking forward to it very much because I love triathlons. I used to do them quite a lot as a commentator. I'll never be able to compete because I can't swim.
Well, you'll be right, mate. Well, thanks again, Phil, for joining us, and we'll speak to you soon, mate. All the best.
All the best to all of you guys. Lovely to see you again.
Good on you, Phil. Take it easy.
For the last day. Okay.
Good on you,
See
mate.
you, mate. Bye.
Phil Liggett, voice of cycling.
The triathlon thing there makes me wonder how Adam Hansen is going in his transition from pro riding into triathlon.
Yeah.
I haven't actually looked it up. I don't know if he's had any competitions or not, but maybe someone watching or listening knows a little bit more about what he's been up to.
Well, we've got Maddie Lloyd just about ready to go. We'll go through some of the comments and questions before we chat to Lloydie. Matthew says, hey, boys, great to see you all. Wendy Superfan, hi, Dan, John, Scott and Phil. The Giro this year has been so exciting, not knowing who would win each stage until last minute. Best of luck, Bike Exchange tonight. John, thanks for your support, mate. He says the Detour podcast has been, I'm sure it's not your intention, a hidden gem. In particular, great to get Matt White's insights, intention for the stage and review of previous stage. Thanks again, lads. Wombat Breath, fascinating stage. Good to see a great effort from the number 2 Aussie team as well, DSM. Regarding the tactics, Sally Ann says Matt Keenan said something similar last night. Free Ranger says Chris Horner's Butterfly Effect YouTube channel puts out some good content. He does give out the Knucklehead Awards on many of the stages. And Russell says it's been a cracking race, only made a little more intriguing by Bike Exchange efforts 2 days ago, if only. Ian Thomas, we're chewing through him here. He says you can't be upset with Caruso's win, even though it wasn't Simon's best day. Great time to get his first pro stage. Rob Charlton, top quality always, boys, asking for a mate. Who is the voiceover lady from Bike Exchange? Good vibes. We'll have to find out, Rob. There's a couple,
but we all agree. We all agree.
Yeah. Hey, what I was going to ask Phil before was because he mentioned Chris Horner and Christian Vanderveld, and then we just got Chris then in one of the comments. My understanding is when they brought Chris into the commentary for the Tour de France, maybe was it 2 years ago, he came in for the first time working with Christian and the NBC crew in America, which of course we don't get to see or hear any of their commentary. But they really butted heads. I don't think Chris, like typically all the commentators seem to, just flow and ebb and flow and get along, whereas Horner would take Christian to task on a few things. I think the first year, the producers thought this was gold because they had some real battles. They had some real battles.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
Now, before we get to Maddie Lloyd, we'll have a quick word from our great mates at Bike Exchange. If I can locate the video, there it is.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Thanks again to our my voice dropped. Thanks again to our great mates at Bike Exchange. Now, Iffy, normally I get you to do the intros, but I'm going to monitor your progress throughout the show. I'm going to throw it to Scotty. What can you say about our next guest, Maddie Lloyd?
Okay, Matthew Lloyd. Maddie is a superstar climber from Melbourne, Victoria. Former Australian road champion. You can see him there with the Australian Championships jersey on. But biggest win was a stage of the 2010 Giro d'Italia, and he also won the King of the Mountains overall competition, just ahead of Ivan Basso. I think Cadel Evans might have been in fourth in the King of the Mountains comp that year as well. And that was the year that the Australians won 3 of the jerseys. Lloydie in the King of the Mountains jersey, Richie Port in the white jersey for the best young rider, and Cadel Evans took out the points competition. So fantastic result by all the Aussies in 2010. And one of the best of them was Matthew Lloyd, taking out the KOM jersey. So, he's a great character, always very well liked within the pro peloton.
And he joins us now. Lloydie, can you hear us?
I can.
How are you travelling, mate?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Good to see you all.
G'day, Maddie. I haven't seen you in years, mate. Good to see you, pal.
You too, Iffy. There you go.
Hey, mate, I hope that intro was okay for you.
It was fantastic. Fantastic.
Now, we used to enjoy the chats with you, Lloydie, back in the day, particularly at the Tour de France, because we never knew what we were going to get out of you, mate. You're one of the all-time classic characters in the pro peloton. Did you get a sense of that when you were on the teams back in the day with Lotto, and you had guys like Robbie McEwen and Gatesy, and we spoke with Hank Vogels the other day? Was that just a natural thing that developed amongst the group?
Yeah, I suppose it was quite animated, and I suppose when you're in an element with so many people and such a camaraderie, like Scotty before was talking about Chris Horner and how it'd be like clashing heads, like even to this day, with commentary teammates. He'd bring the same like combative state to like a team environment as well. Like even when we were working for Cadel, he'd just tell Cadel to shut up at certain points. So it was pretty entertaining. So I just came into it at that point with those guys, and it was pretty entertaining. So I mean, I just went into it as I am, and everything. If people found it entertaining, that was what it was, and I'm glad people found it to be as as gleeful as what I found it to be. So that's all good.
Now, obviously, Scooter mentioned before, 2010 Giro, it was such an amazing year. What are your memories when you go back in the mental archives back to that race?
I think for me, I said to a few people beforehand that I was really at a stage in which I didn't know whether I'd just be like in a domestique type role for the rest of my career, or whether I'd be finding my feet as a stage winner or a jersey winner at that point. But the race at that point and the preparation involved was to a point in which it just yielded such a great result that things tended to go to a really positive stage, and it was fantastic, and just having such a great team involvement around me, and just such a good vibe. It was just fortunate for me that I found myself in a really great position. So yeah, it was luck, and as well as that, there was all the training and all the correct steps you've got to take to put yourself in that place. So that was really great. So yeah, I'm just fortunate.
Iffy?
Maddie, take us through that stage win. Just take us through how it unfolded.
Well, I think about 40 kilometres into the stage, we sort of shut down a lot of the major breakaway groups that had tried to get down the road. And then Bertagnoli and myself got down the road by ourselves, and we just said to ourselves, do you want to do this? Because there was still like an odd 160k to go for a 2-man breakaway. That was no mean feat. And I said, do you really want to stick this through? And he said, yeah, we'll do this. And I knew that there were 2 climbs towards the end of the stage, and then the downward 15k into Marina del Carrara, which were all pretty much flat. And I thought to myself, if I can get rid of him on the 2 climbs towards the end, then I might be able to end up with a stage win here. And then the break got out to about 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes at some point, and we were approaching sort of 30k to go. And I just started launching these hammer attacks on him and got rid of him once, and he come back. And then the second time, I just thought, I'll just put it in the big ring and just put this like gap into him, and he didn't recover, and I was just alone. So I just decided to time trial for the rest of the day.
Oh, Lloyd's dropped out. Lost him.
Hopefully we'll dial back in. Hey, I just brought up the results of that stage. He ended up beating Bertagnoli by 1 minute and 6 seconds, and it was a bunch sprint behind it. So Daniel Hondo, Belletti, Pizzato, Bonnet, Modulo, Baden Cook was 10th. He held on for second by 9 seconds. So Whitey's taken off on him. And then they both had to solo towards the end. And while Lloydie coming ahead 1 minute and 15 ahead of the peloton, Rubens only held on by 9 seconds. So he almost got flicked by the whole bunch too.
He's back.
You're back, Lloydie. Hey, Lloydie, are you able to tilt your camera so it's on the side and then we can get a full screen? Just quality control. We've got extremely high standards here on the detail. That's it, mate. All good.
There we go.
So you're almost at the final. You put it in the big dog and then you went for it.
Yeah, put it in the big dog. And I remember Scotty McGrory told me in the Tour of Wellington years back, in which I ended up winning that. And there was a time trial on the last day. And he just said, use bigger gears, like when it comes to time trialing, which I wasn't really used to doing. But I just put it in the 11 and thought, screw this, I've just got to charge towards the end. And the time gap just started to evolve. And, the directors were like, they're all charged up, just thinking, what's this kid doing? And it just ended up being really, really great. So, yeah, it was fantastic. So that's the way the Giro works, I suppose.
How many more cyclists, Lloydie, do you think would have had victories if they could only channel wise words from Scott McGrory coming into the final there?
Here we go. Stitch up.
I don't really know.
People are missing
Scotty's
out.
good.
People are missing out.
Yeah.
I would say, to use a great word of Dan Jones, shitloads.
Yeah. but you're on, Scott.
No, let me now you've stitched me up. Hey, mate, what's just that feeling though, right? So it would have been a time like you're trying to get rid of Rubens so that you can solo towards the end, but then you obviously had, I looked up the results there. You finished 1 minute and 15 ahead of the peloton. He only finished 9 seconds ahead, so he almost got run down. And once you get to that point, you're probably 10 Ks out thinking, I reckon I've got enough time here. 5 Ks out, you get to the last K, it's all over. They're not going to catch you. What's that like? That last kilometre at the Giro, coming in to win that stage and, preparing for that victory salute. What's going through your head, mate? How good is it?
We've lost Lloydie, so I'll answer it for him. Awesome,
yeah,
mate.
please.
It was awesome.
Good. Yeah, that's great.
It was awesome. I could see he dropped out, and I'm thinking he's still going with his question. Do I cut him off or let him go?
No,
but Lloydie's back.
Mate.
No, he's back. So
No, I'm
it's
back.
just, mate,
I
don't
thought you
worry.
just
We have heaps. We have heaps of Wi-Fi issues on this show. We're used to it. But Scooter, do you want to quickly shorten that question?
I will. What was it really like in the last kilometre when you knew that it was over and you were going to win the stage solo at the Giro, biggest win ever? What was going through your head? How was the emotions?
To be honest, I think it's sort of like you get to know your place, and you've been dreaming of moments like that for so long, and things like that. I think it takes it to just a different place, and you sort of go back to thinking about family and friends and the teammates. And
we've got serious Wi-Fi issues with Lloydie here. Any other questions you want to ask him, and I'll answer for Lloydie?
No, because it sounded like he was about to say, it goes back to family and friends.
Yeah.
He's always a very deep thinker, and I think he's going to talk about the hard work that goes into it, the commitment, and the respect and love people gave to him over the years. Obviously it all comes through, and it's also justification. You've got this bit of validity, perhaps. Here he comes. He's back.
You're back, Lloydie. How's your Wi-Fi in Melbourne, mate? You on NBN? Can you hear us? Now we've lost Lloydie's audio. Oh, she's all happening, folks. It's been a comical of errors. Hang on, unmute mic. No, we haven't got the mic connected. Can you hear us now, Lloydie? Yep, you're back.
Yeah, I'm good now.
You all right, mate? Scooter?
Well, I'll let you finish off, mate. You were just talking about, thinking about your family and friends, and as you come to the finish of that stage.
Yeah, I think all the subtleties and things like that come into mind above all else. I mean, I tell a lot of people that there were points, I think with most sports people's careers that, you feel like, you're not going to make it to such crescendo moments. And I'd certainly been through them beforehand. But you get to moments like that, and it all just comes together, and you think how fortunate you are. So it was really great. And after that, the next 2 and a bit weeks was just a dream, really, with the whole team working for me, and defending a jersey, and having Richie and Cadell around just to be together and help out. It was just a really special time. So it was great.
You mentioned Richie Port there. Now, this was the Giro where he really emerged on the world scene. I think he had the leader's jersey for a couple of stages there at one point. Then, what were your initial impressions of Richie when he burst on the scene back then?
I certainly knew he was mega talented, and I knew that he was a potential in Grand Tours to be up there. And I remember one day we were descending, and his bike confidence wasn't that great on descents, so I ended up pushing him back into the front group. And after that, he said, "Oh, thanks, man. That was great." And I said, you deserve to be there. And after that, he just progressed and progressed. And I suppose the next year he was great, and he's just become just a really, really solid rider. And all those little things, I suppose, we were able to help each other out with. And the results sort of speaks for themselves. So yeah, it's been great just to see him evolve.
Iffy?
I've got the greatest memories of when you first started racing. I mean, you were racing at St Kilda Cycling Club, and you didn't have any experience, and suddenly you were bang winning big races. And I've got a feeling it might have been Mount Borbor in a Sun Tour. You won the stage at Mount Borbor? Yeah, because I remember that Carl Wilson was your team manager. And I remember you telling me the story. This kid could climb a little bit, I'm watching him. Anyway, we get to the big Mount Borbor stage, or the day before. And he said, now, this is what I want you to do. He's given them all the rules and what they should do. And you said to Carl, well, no, I'm actually going for the stage win. Carl said, I don't think you're quite ready for that, mate. But you certainly shut him up because you won the stage, beating some very big hitters to win the stage in up Mount Borbor, which is the steepest climb in Australia.
Yeah, that was an entertaining one. We had a team meeting, and Carl said, this is the plan. Just keep it low key. Keep your gun in the holster. And tried to, keep everyone calm. And I think it was I think Jerry was one of the sponsors, because Mitchelton was one of the sponsors of the under-23 team at that point. And he said to us, who here feels like they can, put their foot in the door and, make a footprint on the stage. And I just said, I can, because I just felt like it. And then I found myself down the road by about, 7 or 8 minutes and ended up winning the stage. And, Carl was just delighted, as you can imagine. And it was good. And then ended up getting just a contract for a pretty shitty French team. But I mean, if you don't make those steps, then you never know. So yeah, it was all good.
I was managing the guy that ran second to you that day, and it was Mitch Docker, I think, on that particular stage. Was riding for Drapac, and I'd only just started working for the team as the DS. And no words of wisdom to Mitch was going to close the gap down to you, mate. You blew him away on the climb.
That's up there with your Zonkolans and stuff like that. Like that is no remorse on that thing.
It is, though. That's exactly right. It definitely is. It might have the same mythical name, but as far as how hard it is, it's right up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Have you been watching much of the Giro, mate? Have you had the opportunity to really get stuck into it and have a good look?
Yeah, particularly over the last week or so. I think the main thing for me will probably come down to today with Caruso being sort of in touch with Bernal. Maybe over 30K. It's not really an undoable task. And I'm sure, as you'd have seen with that area, there's no undulation at all. But because Bernal has not done any, specific work with time trial in particular, it'll probably come down to to sort of incremental periods in which he can make up time and potentially come rather close to taking the pink. But
That's interesting.
Yeah. But it's still a significant gap.
It's 2 minutes. 2 minutes in 30K. I don't think you can get anywhere near 2 minutes.
Ooh, detect a bit of Chris Horner here. Here we go.
Yeah. No, I just don't. You could take a minute out of him, but that would be max, I reckon.
Can I give you the head-to-head in time trials?
Yeah.
Yes.
I know the head-to-head. So they've raced each other 4 times, or 5 times. 5 times, sorry. Caruso has beat Bernal 4 out of the 5. So 4 to Caruso, 1 to Bernal. The last sort of time, you have to go back to 2018 to get deep into a race. It was the Tour de France where stage 20 of the Tour de France, which are a longer time trial, and Caruso beat Bernal by 30 seconds back then. So Caruso, he's not a standout time trial, but on that particular stage, he was 13th at the Tour de France, and he was 30 seconds faster than Bernal. So you will expect Caruso, I think, to go quicker than him in this one. But I can't see him. He might get a minute, maybe more. And if Bernal's, one of the things Bernal said that the reason he hasn't been doing lots of time trial prep is because his back hurts so much when it's in the time trial position down on the bars. So hey, who knows? Who knows? I think normal situation, it's all done, but this isn't a normal Giro. So wait and see how much time Caruso takes.
Lloydie, did you enjoy the TTs like at races like the Tour de France when the crowds were chock-a-block? Obviously, you weren't going for GC. Were you able to sort of soak up the atmosphere and wind up the crowds?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
I think your hand's over the mic, mate. You're sounding like you're underwater. Yeah, that's it.
No, I think it's sort of the thing where the directors tell you to just pretty much take it as easy as possible, but you're still just over the limit. So you don't want to be charging into it like you're just thrashing yourself. But at the same time, you still want to be, in the moment and absorbing everything, which is pretty cool. And just knowing that, you've got a whole bunch of, family and friends around and, spectators just there for the event. It's a special sort of time. And, I think the time trials are, they're sort of they're a sort of a specific taste, if you will, for anyone who, who wants to, get deeply involved in them. Then you can, and you can just hammer yourself. Or if you don't have to, then you just don't. So, yeah.
Some riders look at the Tour as like a necessary evil and prefer races like the Giro because there's heaps of passion and it's not as full on. Did you feel the same way comparing, say, the Giro and the Tour?
I suppose living in Italy and being involved with their culture, you get adapted to being part of their race. And while the Tour de France is such a momentous occasion, mainly for the media, and not only the riders, but the teams will often try and do like a catering process to try and place riders in positions where they'll just be preparing solely for the Tour de France or the Giro or the Vuelta. But for me, I was always open to all three of them. And that's probably why I ended up doing all three of them quite openly. And then you go out to the Tour de France is obviously the epicenter of cycling and things like that. But then you see the spectatorship, alongside the Giro, and it's just massive. Probably the same spectatorship that you find at the Giro or the Vuelta. So I think, for me, all three of them were quite similar in that sort of standpoint.
We've got a few comments we can bang through again. Paul Colleen, it's not over yet. Still could be a mechanical or a touchdown. We don't want to see that. And Scooter, we've mentioned on the show before that famous TT. We're out the front of the Colosseum in 2009, and the Italian commentators in particular were ecstatic.
They were. So Dennis Metchoff in the leader's jersey. It was Danilo De Luca in second place, but I think 2 minutes or so behind, come into that final time trial, wet cobbles coming around the Colosseum, and Metchoff was 800 metres to go, just slid down the road. Now, the mechanic for Rabobank that year was incredible. He should have got an award because he was out of the car before they'd stopped and before Metchoff had stopped sliding. Straight up to him, bam, on the bike again and gone. Now, the mechanic the media guys from Italy in the marquee after the finish line, all they saw was Metchoff's crashed, De Luca's going to win the Giro. And they hadn't thought that, well, hang on, if he gets up quickly, he's still got a 2-minute buffer. And one of the journos was so excited, he was holding the leg of the marquee and just shaking the whole marquee, yelling, "Bellissimo! Bellissimo! Bellissimo!" Everyone's spoiled, the thing's shaking. And then he's realised, he looked at the TV and he saw that Metchoff was already back up on his bike and coming around the final corner. He's like, oh, bugger.
Well, I've never been
after it.
Yeah, I was right there. I was right there with the camera at the finish line, and Metchoff rode up within 2 foot, pulls off his TT helmet, slams it on the crowd, and just screams like "Rah!" Like this gladiator battle. Here we are at the Colosseum.
Russian.
Oh yeah,
but no, the classic has to be Rasmussen.
That was great, wasn't it? The emotion was great.
Rasmussen.
That was bad.
That has to be the most ridiculous final stage. He could not stay on the bike. He just, no matter what he did, it was like it had flopsy wheels or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Paul's backed up and said, "I'm not wishing for any." Max, nice beard, Dan. Thanks, Max. Kirsty Baxter says, "Scooter, maybe now it's time to bring up Dan's music playlist." What's she mean by that?
She's seen your playlist. I think it's on Spotify. And, there's a few too many love ballads in there, I think.
Oh, she's seen my playlist.
Yeah.
Isn't that private? Oh no.
We all know Dan. We know Dan is a romantic at heart. So of course,
that's right. Yeah. Gary says, "How do we get Scooter to open the wallet and buy a decent microphone?" Whack.
Well, Gary, if he really wants it, he can pay for it.
Yeah, no, we'll accept that. We'll put the hat around, mate. We'll get you a decent mic leading up to the tour. Free Ranger says, "These stories and memories are what make the detour show so good. It's really a who's who of Aussie cycling. Of course, we're very lucky to have the great Maddie Lloyd on at the moment." Jason Cruz says, "In some of the Matt Lloyd interviews when he was racing, you could have thought he ended up being a stand-up comic, talented climber." I think one of the funny ones, Lloydie, was back in the day when we used to ask random questions, was bringing back the biff. Remember there was the post-stage biffo, and we were asking you, what do you reckon, Lloydie? And you're like, "Oh, mate, I was there. I was bloody throwing a few into the bring it back. Yeah, it's bloody great." I think that got some pretty good cut through. Do you remember that?
Oh, the old diamond cutter. Yeah,
that's it.
That's right. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it was.
I think it was line there on your shoulder. That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. The old diamond cutter was pretty good. Who was it from Quickstep? He threw the wheel at
Pareto, was it?
Yeah, Pareto.
Yeah, it was Pareto.
Rui Costa.
He took his front wheel out and just piffed it. It was so good. So good.
I'll tell you, Lloydie, I was just going to say, I haven't been too good this week. I've been a bit crook, and I ended up having to go into hospital one night. So I'm laying in there, they're doing all these blood tests and MRIs and stuff, and the resident doctor, this is in at St John of God, in Geelong, started talking. He said, "Oh, cyclist." He said, "I used to race with Carnegie." He said, "Oh, yeah." And he said, "Yeah, I worked a bit in Ethel Andrews' bike shop in Brighton." Yeah. He said, "I went to school with Maddie Lloyd. How's Maddie Lloyd going?" I said, "Well, you wouldn't believe it. We're going to have him on our podcast in a couple of days." So he said, "Oh, I'll be watching." His name is Jonathan. I don't know his surname, but he's a doctor in at St John of God now. But lovely guy. Lovely young guy. Yeah. We went to school with you, Lloyd.
Oh, that's all good. Well, I'll no doubt get in touch with him, particularly if he's watching, and be able to touch base. So it's a small world, really.
Yeah.
So.
David says, "Wow, KOM and a stage at Giro and the Australian jersey, etc., etc. What a career, Lloydie." When you look back, obviously the Giro stands out, but what are the key things that you look most fondly on when you look at your career, Lloydie?
Obviously, the Australian Championships, Giro stage win, Giro jersey, the other Tour de France's, the other Giros as well, and also the classics as well. The classics for me were never really anything, spectacular, but they were always something to look forward to at the start of the season, and that was great. And also, the Tour Down Unders were really, really good to kick it off, and yeah, I think on the broad spread of things, everything was really fantastic. So yeah, I've got no regrets, and everything's been fantastic. So yeah, it was great.
I think my playlist is getting leaked. I've got to have to update it. Kirsty says, "That's the thing about football by the Coulda-Beans." That's it. I got this playlist called Belters, and she's leaked it. So I need to update that. It's just random stuff that I've thrown in there. So anyway. Wombat Breath says, "Thanks for the show, gents. Please announce your show plans for during Dauphiné, Tour of Swiss, Tour de France, etc." Iffy?
Yeah, so I spoke to the big kahuna at Bike Exchange today. So Tour de France, we'll be doing it just like we have for the Giro every night, which will be wonderful. You might have to step up a little bit, Dan, start doing a bit of work, but that should be sensational. And for the other ones, we will be doing updates. Like we might do 2 or 3 during the Dauphiné, which starts tonight. And same Tour of Swiss, one of my favourite races. Yeah, so we'll keep you informed, guys. Yep.
So, Lloydie, what are you up to nowadays? We know you're back in Melbourne. Are you still connected with cycling in any way?
I've been doing a bit of work for Giant, because one of their biggest stores is just down the road. Doing a bit of client liaison stuff, and the other work that I've been doing has just been with my sports psychology, because I got a master's degree in sports psychology, sort of at the later point in 2019, and most of that work has been through getting in touch with. I suppose most of it's been getting in contact with people who are younger and have different disabilities and things like that, which has been really, really good. And I think otherwise some of the work was involved with the folks who didn't know whether they were going to be going to the Olympics, if they were going to be on or not. So that was also interesting. but it seems to be going forward as far as we know so far. So, yeah. But apart from that, everything's been pretty smooth, and I'll just keep ticking along, doing general things day to day, and just keeping it real.
Good stuff, mate. Scooter?
Oh, just sports psychology, mate. It's just ride a bigger gear. That's all you got to do. Just got to say it. Ride a bigger gear. Pedal faster. My dad used to say, in the clear and not in the rear. He even never used to race. So he said, just get up front, be out in front. So, thanks, Dad. Yeah, every race. Yeah, basically. That's all you'd say. Thanks, Dad. Miss you, mate. Yeah. No, good, mate. It's good to see you. It's good to, like for a lot of, Australia's got such rich cycling history, so many great stories. And as we're hearing from the fans that are listening, they do love the funny stories from inside the peloton that they wouldn't normally get to hear them, and the emotions and what it's like. What is it like to, you see some people that win races all the time, and it's they just won another one. But each win, each race, even each loss has some deeper meaning, which and a real journey behind it. So as has yours, mate.
No, thanks for that. Certainly.
Well, it's been bloody great having you on the show, Lloydie. Wish you all the best with future endeavours, mate, and we'll have to check in again soon, mate.
Oh, for sure. Thanks for your time, gentlemen.
No worries, mate.
Yeah.
Good to see you, buddy.
Really look forward to catching up for a coffee, Lloydie. Yeah.
Sounds
really
good.
Look forward to it.
Sounds good.
Okay, mate. See you,
mate.
Bye.
Maddie Lloyd, as we said, what a career. Mountains jersey winner in 2010, stage winner of the Giro, Australian national road title. When was that? But 2008, was it?
I think you're right. I think you might be spot on there.
Yeah, about that time. Yeah, because
Yep.
it was a great win too. Yeah.
Was that the Buninyong circuit?
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, a little climb. He needed that one. He would have enjoyed that. That was a circuit that he absolutely loved. Hey,
we're waiting for Matt White. We've sent him a message. He's all lined up to come on at 7:30.
Yeah, so originally he wanted to come on really early, which was just too early for everyone else. And he said, because then I'm going to have a meeting, and then I'm going out to do a time trial, proper time trial recce. I said, what about after that? He said, fine, I'll come on at 7:30. But obviously that recce's taken a fair bit more time. So look, if you can't get on tonight, we'll do the wrap up of the whole stage tomorrow, and we'll get Whitey's impressions of everything and let him answer Chris Horner tomorrow night.
Well, maybe he saw the Chris Horner clip. He said, "That's it. I'm done. The detour ban, the black book. Yeah, that you're finished." Predictions for the stage, lads.
Well, can I say that I think the only real big mover here is going to be Almeida. Almeida, who is down on GC, but in 8th place, he'll end up finishing in 5th. I think he'll really jump up. He's only a minute off Bardet, sitting in 5th place. So I'm pretty sure he's going to go faster than that. He's such a good time trialer. Yeah. From the rest, the times will change and the gaps will be different. But, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, I can't see them moving at all. Garner's going to win the stage by how much? Half a day.
Half a day?
With Almeida being the biggest mover. Half a day, I reckon he'll win by. Yeah.
Just got a message from Whitey. He'll be on in 2 minutes. So he's back.
Yeah, good.
Thanks to the guys that have stayed on watching.
What was that?
Thanks to the guys still watching. Yeah.
So what do you think, Johnny, about the time trial?
I can't disagree with anything you just said. I reckon Almeida will move up, 4 or 5 spots, 4 spots anyway, up to 5th. And I'm gonna have to say Gunner. I mean, the Frenchman, what's his name?
Cavagna.
Cavagna. Yeah. He probably hasn't had to dig quite as deep as Garner in the last few days. So maybe he has got a little bit in reserve there to make it a bit closer than what you think, maybe down to quarter of a day. But I'll pick Garner, Cavagna, and then Almeida, maybe even 3rd on the stage.
What would have been the time gap if Yatesy was on a blinder yesterday that would have been like, oh, it's you can't pick it if we went into today's stage?
Well, he was only 20 seconds down on Caruso before the start yesterday. So anytime he gained, they would have had a battle royal for second place. Bernal would have, he would have had to take another minute out of Bernal. And then it would have been really, pressure comes on, all of those things. But, yeah.
See, look at all these mountain stages, right? So whenever it's been, say, Caruso winning, Yatesy with the second place, and then that stage win as well, the actual time gaps and the time that Bernal has lost in each of those occasions has been minimal. It's only been 20 to 30 seconds. It's not much at all. We haven't seen the big blowout, 2 minute, 3 minute time gaps and like the Chris Froome comebacks and the, the Sabadellis and the Nibali's and these big, massive comebacks from behind that we've seen in the past. So I think even if Yatesy had his best form yesterday, he might have picked up 45 seconds over Bernal. That was it. And they were talking about the numbers when Yatesy won the other day. They said that Bernal's numbers were actually really, really good. So his power output and everything was great. And that was on his bad day. So it just shows how close all these guys really are. It's quite exceptional.
In other news, Sagan not going to Quickstep, apparently.
Well, did you read about it? And you know why though? Like, it's not like, let's just take Peter Sagan. It's Peter.
He wants to bring 25 people with him.
Yeah, he's got 11. I'm not sure of 11. Yeah, so this is the deal, right? He's like, okay, I'd love to come with the team. Now, the main connection is Specialized bikes. Okay, so it's not like De Koenig have to pay whatever it is, $4 or $5 million for Peter. Specialized will be bringing all that money, so they're going to be paying him most of it anyway, right? So that's kind of the deal. He's only going to go to a place that rides a Specialized bike or to a team. But he has to bring his brother. This is the condition. He has to bring his brother. He has to bring Daniel Oss. He has to bring Maciej Bodnar. He also has to bring Eric Baska. They're the riders has to come with him. He's got 2 mechanics that he wants to bring with him, 2 Swannies, a team manager, a press officer, and a hospitality manager. That's the conditions of coming in.
That is a posse.
Yeah, right. Now, Giovanni Lombardi is his manager. He stated that, look, we can make some adjustments to that, and there are 2 of those people, didn't say who, that you don't have to take. Now, how bad would you feel if you knew that you were one of those people? You got the Swanee, is it the hospitality manager? I don't know, but yeah, they're the expendable 2 that we don't need. So he may be going to Total Direct Energy by the sounds of it.
Hey, Whitey, have you got 25 extra spots on the squad next year, mate? You want Sagan?
No, we haven't got that much room to move, mate.
Extraordinary demand, though, isn't it?
Actually,
I want to come to the team, but there's another 10 you've got to bring with me.
I'd just like to say thanks heaps, Whitey. I know you've been really busy out doing a recon of the course, so we'll hear all about that in a minute. But before we go any further, I'd just like to say congratulations on a brilliant Giro. A podium spot in the Giro is something special. So congratulations. The team have ridden absolutely brilliantly for the whole event. So well done, bud.
No, thanks, John. The team has been incredible over the last month. Riders, staff, everything's worked really, really well. Given Simon all the support that he has needed, and the boys have backed him from day one all the way through. He's got 30 kilometres to get through this afternoon. But no, it's been a great performance from the entire team.
I see you got Happy in the background chewing on a bit of food.
Yeah, no, we're heading back. Just did the recon with Happy and Yatesy. Now we're on our way back from the centre of Milan back to our hotel, which is close to the start area. Or I'm taking Happy back to the start area because he's off first. Yatesy's in another car. He's going back to the hotel because he doesn't race until later this afternoon. And do it all over again.
Is Happy pissed off that all this work he's had to do on the front ruled him ineligible to qualify for those bottles of Spumante?
The bottles of Spumante? For what?
Remember, if he finished last that year, he was doing the horses. He was trying to get those 25 bottles that you said that you get for the Lanterne Rouge.
Yeah, we've taken Happy too far into the race for that.
Yeah,
and no, he was totally out of the chasing for that one, mate.
Oh well, there's always next year.
There's always next year. There's always next year. No, I think Heavy will do a good one this afternoon. It's a good course for him, fast, and we just had a look at the course now. It's let's just say it's not showcasing Milan's finest architecture.
Oh no!
But it's an interesting course through the burbs. And it's the finish. Well, you finish downtown, but the big chunk of the time trial, you feel like you're in an industrial area, car park, until you pop out there in the last couple of K into the city. So it's technical at times, but it's going to be lightning fast.
If Happy wants to ride well today, all he's got to do is catch his minute man. Just whoever it is that starts 1 minute in front of him, he's just got to make sure he catches him.
Actually, I can't remember who Happy. You remember who you had chasing Happy? Oh yeah, Garner. Yeah. Well, if we catch him, something has gone drastically wrong for Garner and incredibly well for us.
No, I did look at the start list. That's why I said, catch your minute man, you're fine. So what about the roads themselves? We've seen Dan and I were there in 2009 when the roads were terrible on the stage in Milan. I wasn't a time shopper, but any dangerous stuff to worry about, potholes and things like that?
Yes. Yep. And lots of them. Yep. There's a few funky corners with some grids in inappropriate places. But yeah, I think and in some sections there's so many things to dodge that the riders are just going to have to pick their own line through some of those corners and through some of those areas. But 85% of the course is fast and flowing, and then the other 15%, you're in and out of towns left and right. Got a few railway lines to negotiate, and then there's the odd manhole cover and pothole in the inappropriate places.
Iffy?
The Giro excels again. The Giro I rode, we finished with a 30k time trial into Verona, but I was cruising that much, so I didn't have to worry about potholes. But we had a little film clip, which I think Dan will show in a minute from Chris Horner, who has a go at you for the tactics used yesterday. We'd love to get your response to it.
Do you want me to play the video now, or do you just want to summarise, John?
Well, he has a go at you for putting Chris Horner on the front. No, for putting Chris Horner, Jules Jensen on the front when Bahrain had gone, and he reckons it was putting a lot of pressure on Ineos, and that you shouldn't have helped.
Who said this, mate?
Chris Horner. Chris Horner.
Chris Horner.
He said it was a bonehead move.
Bonehead.
A bonehead move.
Yeah.
Oh, it takes one to know one, doesn't it?
But no, he was saying that if you didn't have a guy on the front there, it would have put more pressure on Ineos to bridge that gap or whatever.
Guess what? I'm in the bike race. He is watching on television. And Chris Jules Jensen had 5 more minutes left in him, so that's why we did it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, pretty simple explanation.
Take that
No, but what he was actually leading to was that you'd be better off not to do that. Put more pressure on Ineos to make them chase because they were in a spot of bother right at that time. And I just wonder whether you'd already got the message from the HC that he wasn't really 100%.
No, but what I should have done, I should have rung Chris Horner and had a good chat to him because he clearly understood the situation better than myself. At the end of the day, if you actually watched the bike race, Ineos didn't catch the breakaway, did they? So there was pressure on those guys all the way to the line. And Chris was going to be in there for 5 minutes longer. And actually, we were looking to try to win the stage. So we had already put pressure on Ineos by not helping them through the vast majority of the day. And then when we had one guy left with him, we had Mikel Nieve was in that group as well. He didn't do a turn. And Chris had 5 minutes left on him. So Chris had just come back with a jacket for Simon. And we said, might as well go to the front. You got 5 minutes left in you. And at the end of the day, we didn't want it to blow out anymore because actually second place, who we were trying to beat, was up the road. So we didn't want Caruso. We wanted Caruso back as well. So we weren't riding just against Ineos. We're also riding against Caruso, who we wanted to beat on the stage and take some time on.
Exactly what I said. I agree with you, Whitey. Yeah.
Hey, what do you think about the tactic? Like, obviously they won the stage and they did well, but so also Bardet, you had two Aussies in Stora and Hamilton lighting up on the descent of San Bernardino. You know, that's when the Bahrain guys went across as well. From a spectator's point of view back here, for us, it was fantastic. It was really good racing, but obviously it's stressful from your side. But what did you think about the tactics of DSM and the Bahrain boys?
Oh, look, I think it's a tactic that, I know the Bahrain guys, I was talking to those guys at the hotel, they noticed that the Ineos guys had all put their rain jackets on over the top. So when you're doing that sort of stuff, it's a bit of an indication that those guys there was no need for them to rip the descent. So when DSM took it on, they were onto that quick smart, and they capitalised off that push, and which then put Ineos under a lot of pressure. But both those guys rode really well, and it was a plan. Look, we actually wanted to make it hard on the Splugel pass, but we didn't get a chance to because of what had eventuated on that descent prior.
Yeah, that's interesting insight because that's the stuff we don't, obviously we don't get to see that, but that's the observations of riders within the peloton and how tactics change on the moment, which is the beauty of cycling, isn't it? It's pre-race plans go out the door pretty quickly if you notice something else is happening. Yeah,
and I think, well, even the day before, if I'm not sure of the coverage, if you saw when we were chasing the day that Simon won, Quickstep ripped the descent incredibly fast, and it put the group into 3 or 4 different groups from the descent. But it's a tactic that is used more and more now. Every time you do get to these technical descents, even if it's 70, 80K to go, you've got to be prepared for a team to really rail it and put your leader under pressure. I'm not a big fan of it, and it's never something that I've ever told our guys to do, because at the end of the day, there can be gains made, but you could also end up on the flip side and put pressure on your own team and actually cause a crash with your own leaders involved.
And from an Aussie perspective, we mentioned it earlier, but Michael Storer and Chris Hamilton were super rides as well.
Yeah, definitely. They had real classy rides yesterday, and very valuable contributions to their team. So they had a great ride.
So what's the movements for you, mate, after the Giro? I suppose it all builds up with the Dauphiné and the Tour de France and Swiss.
Yeah, well, the Dauphiné starts today, mate, because of the Olympics. Yeah, Dauphiné
Good
starts today
again on the detour.
No, well, I did tell you that before, Dan. You just haven't listened to me.
There you go.
No, it starts today. There's been a bit of a calendar adjustment because of the Olympics. And so it starts Sunday to Sunday. Go home for a few days, then I'll pop into the last 4 or 5 days to Tour of Switzerland, where the majority of our Tour de France group is preparing there, and then off to the tour. But the recons, we did a lot of recons for the Giro. We're doing a little bit less for the Tour de France because a lot of our climbers based in Andorra have checked them out themselves over the last month in between their break of competition. And there's one stage more that one of our directors is going to check out in the next week. And then we're going to go to the Tour de France a day early to check out the first 2 hilltop finishes, which are day 1 and 2.
Okay.
Hey, we've had a few questions, and even Cadell chimed in when he was on the podcast a few days ago, just about the Olympic Games and Michael Matthews, your guy, not being selected. Do you know what the background of that was? Is the circuit too hard for him? Did he want to do it or not? What was the story?
All I know is he was keen to do it, but I have no idea of the process of how they selected the team. I have nothing to do with Cycling Australia, mate. So I have no idea how that process went down. I don't even know who the full team is selected who's going. I know Michael's not going, and I know Cam is, but I don't know who the other two riders even are.
Richie and
Jack
Rowan
Hagan
Bennett.
and Richie Port and Rowan.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. I knew Rowan was going, but I just didn't know who the other two were. So it's Richie and Jack. Okay.
Someone wants to know.
It's a tough course. It's a tough course. It's a strange one. It's got a 20-minute climb, I reckon, about 30k to go. It's a solid course.
Someone wants to know what's the plans for Yatesy now? Will he be doing the Vuelta this year?
No, we will not be doing the Vuelta this year. Wouldn't be surprised to see him taking part in the Lap of France. And then his obviously a big goal for him is the Olympic Games. But first thing first, he'll be taking a little bit of a rest. He'll be taking a little bit of a rest after this race.
Okay.
Real surprise. I have to go back to that. So, what you wouldn't expect him to finish the Tour de France if he's really that keen for the Olympics, especially after what he's just been through. So, what are you expecting him to go in and sort of do first half Tour de France?
Well, we've got some ideas there, John. But he won't be riding general classification at the Tour de France. That's for sure. If he goes, that's for sure.
Okay. Interesting. We learn something all the time. Why do you font of information, mate?
And just finally, I want to apologise, Whitey. I didn't send you that video of the pre-match bloody hockey speech until once the stage started. So I reckon that would have made a big difference if the boys had seen the pump-up speech from Kurt Russell before the start. So I'm going to have to take a bit of ownership of that, mate.
All right, I did send it out on the directors' WhatsApp group, and that they did like it. They did like it as myself, but no, it did not. The message did not get to the boys in time.
Oh no, so that's my bad, mate. That's my bad. Yeah.
What about the footy team? What about the
footy team? Did the footy coach give him a lift?
Well, again, I did that. Not enough time.
Yeah,
didn't have time. Didn't get time to get it to him, mate.
So yeah, sorry about that.
I think a few with the foreigners, it might have lost the same impact.
Definitely. Well, we wish you all the best for the time trial, mate. And thanks again. We can't thank you enough. Everyone's been writing messages in saying how much they've enjoyed your insights every day at the Giro. It's been awesome, and we really appreciate it, mate.
And I reckon I haven't spoke to the other guys here, but unless something absolutely major happens tomorrow that creates some drama for you or something exciting, we'll give you a break tomorrow. We'll say thanks heaps for this Giro, mate. It's been sensational, and we'll catch you soon.
Okay, mate. But John, you know you're aware that the Giro finishes today.
Yes, that's all right. But we do a wrap up tomorrow. Of the final stage.
Okay.
I'm letting you off. I'm trying to look after you, mate.
Oh, okay.
Johnny's our talent logistics manager.
I'll be on a flight sometime in mid-morning tomorrow anyway, mate. Back home.
All right, mate. Well, enjoy. Good luck today, and good luck to the rest of the guys.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Job well done. Stage win and podium of the Giro's nothing to sneeze at. So great effort.
No. The boys have been incredible, and really proud of how they've got through the month. And the staff has supported them 110%, which is if you've got really good staff, it certainly helps the month go a lot smoother, and we certainly have here.
Yeah, and say good day to Chicho.
Go happy.
That's it.
I will. All right, gents.
Take it easy.
Ciao, Dan.
There, Chicho. See you, mate. Sports Director Matt Lloyd, as we said, it's been fantastic having his insights every stage. Doesn't get any better than that. And I'm really looking forward to, outside of cycling, the title fight between Whitey and Horner. I reckon it could go 12 rounds.
Yeah, they seem to enjoy each other's company, don't they?
I loved it.
Oh, that's what you need, a bit of fire. That's bloody great.
Right.
Yeah,
All right, boys. Well, we've gone an hour 25. Thanks for everyone for tuning in, and thanks for your support throughout the Giro. We will be back tomorrow night to wrap everything up. But yeah, it's been a fantastic race so far, and no doubt the time trial. I mean, it could have been a little bit more nail biting with the GC positions, but it should still be a great event.
Lloydie gives him a chance. So there you go.
Yes, you heard it first from Maddie Lloyd. As we always say, youtube.com/the Detour Podcast. Scooter, have you got any tidbits before we go?
No, nothing special. Well, yeah, of course I do. So where the time trial starts, right? So it's virtually directly north, slightly northwest of Milan Centre, and it sits basically right in the middle. For the east, it's the Formula One circuit, Monza, which anyone might be interested in if you're into car racing, as I am, and motorbikes. And if you go about the same distance, but 25 kilometres to the west, is the town of Castellanza, and that was the service course for the Mappé team. So back in the day, team I rode for, and I think it was the biggest team at the time. It's the Team Ineos or Team Sky of that era. So yeah, we're pretty close to the service course. It still continues now as a sports centre and a place where all the riders or any other sports can go and get their lab testing and all those sorts of things done. But obviously the actual service course for the team, fell over or stopped when the team did in 2002.
All right, well, there you go. Thanks, Scooter. Thanks, Iffy. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Cheers.